Listen to my show, Hammering Away, Saturday at 7 p.m. on Kcaa 1050 a.m., where we cool down the hot topics of the week.
Kcaa invites you to join Dr. Donald Gabriel Jolly for What's It All About. He's never without words.
I have an opinion about everything.
He talks about everything.
You can say I love you and be fired by the power of the crotch instead of the real meaning of love. You have an illness. It is called terminal acute hornitis.
Join Dr. Jolly for What's It All About, 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon on Kcaa 1050 a.m.
This is Kcaa Loma Linda, the station that leaves no listener behind. CNBC News is next, a courtesy of buysellmakeoffer.com, where you can post a video about items you have for sale.
This time, nearly 3 million older model Camrys, Corollas, and other cars in the U.S. have to have their power window switches replaced due to a risk of fire. This is just the latest in a series of similar recalls at Toyota that have totaled more than 14 million cars globally. On Wall Street, stocks fell today as shares of energy giants and health insurance companies took some hits. The Dow down 48, the Nasdaq down 40. Yahoo and Chipotle both down more than 5% after disappointing earnings late Tuesday. But shares of Ferrari are revving nearly 6% higher on their first day of trading. John Thain, the one-time head of Merrill Lynch, now CEO of small business lender CIT, is stepping down. And 17 states, along with New York City, Chicago, and Washington, D.C., will share a $4 million settlement with UPS. That's for overcharging government customers and falsifying delivery times to end refunds for late deliveries. Tom Busby, CNBC.
There are no guarantees in love, but there is a guarantee from EH Plus by eHarmony, our new personal matchmaking service. At EH Plus, your own personal matchmaker gets to know you so well, we can guarantee introductions that will be satisfying and exciting. EH Plus goes far beyond regular online dating sites, and that's a guarantee. Visit us at ehplus.com/love or call 1-855-930-LOVE.
Here's all you need to know. There's a new cool way to sell your unwanted stuff online. It's buysellmakeoffer.com. buysellmakeoffer.com. You're not going to believe it. Join the legions of web sellers and buyers who are turning to buysellmakeoffer.com today. Never pay fees again. For low monthly membership of $7.95, you can sell up to 50 items, and there's a 60-day free trial membership to get you started. You can even produce your own infomercial to sell your products and upload the video for the world to see. Go right now to buysellmakeoffer.com.
Good afternoon. It's 3:02. I'm Di Rice with the latest in live local news here on Kcaa 1050 a.m. A shooting took place last night at Wilson Elementary at 2894 North Bell Street, about 2 blocks southwest of the 210 freeway and Waterman Avenue in San Bernardino. Officers found the victim, a janitor, standing at the front of the school. The man told police he was smoking a cigarette and standing in front of a parked van when he saw men approaching him. When the janitor turned around and began walking toward the school, that's when he heard gunfire. The janitor was hit in the arm with non-life-threatening injuries. The incident has been turned over to San Bernardino City Unified School District Police. And 76 people may face criminal charges after being caught in one of 12 home improvement undercover operations that were conducted October 13th through the 15th. The Contractors License Board and the Riverside County District Attorney's Office set up a sting operation that netted among the 76, 12 contractors who were caught in previous stings or who were the subjects of consumer complaints. Statewide investigative fraud team investigators posed as homeowners and called unsuspected unlicensed operators for home improvement bids that included a bathroom, demolition and remodel, painting, landscaping, flooring, roofing, fencing, deck repair, tree removal, masonry, and tile and concrete work. Inland Empire weather. For the most part, we are sunny, some clouds out there, breezy. Today's high was expected to reach about 82, tomorrow 81. Overnight low tonight, about 60 degrees. I do believe we have reached our high of 82. That's where we stand right now. Checking out your driving situation, not bad out there. The 91 eastbound between Green River and Highway 71. Little stop and go going on there. And then through Ontario on the 15 northbound between the 60 and Harupa, you've got your normal stop and go in that vicinity as well. The south is slow from the 10 to Harupa. And that is the very latest with news, weather, and traffic on the station that leaves no listener behind. KCAA 1050 AM.
For those of you traveling by air to celebrate this holiday season, LA Ontario International Airport wants you and your family to have a fun and safe trip. For your convenience,
remember, TSA travel rules are for your safety and those of others. LA Ontario International Airport reminds you to arrive early and check with your airlines for flight delays or cancellations.
ONT offers 62 daily flights to 15 nonstop western cities. This year, Santa brings your airport the Paws Pet Assisting with Smiles stress relief program. So, make sure to stop and pause a while, then sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight. For more airport information, please visit us at lawa.org.
What have I learned so far? I've learned that there is no one path right for everyone. I've learned that without my high school diploma, I can only do so much. My options were limited. I found a free personalized learning program with Learn for Life that has a flexible schedule so I could keep my job while earning my high school diploma. I found new career training opportunities that would jumpstart my future. What have I learned so far? I've learned that I can change my life.
Are you 14 to 19 years old and looking for a free high school diploma program with flexible meeting times? This program allows you to keep your job or important family responsibilities while earning your high school diploma. If you've fallen behind on credits or dropped out of school completely, get back on track with free tutoring, a caring faculty, and one-on-one attention. For more information on how to reach your graduation goal, visit learnforlife.org. That's LEARN4LIFE.org. Or enroll today by calling 877-360-LEARN. That's 877-360-LEARN.
KCAA.
Welcome to What's It All About on KCAA Radio, AM and 106.5 FM. Greetings to all of you. Welcome to our show today. We have in studio with us for the first time, actually, Dr. J, who is our philosopher and our theologian. And Dr. J, can you say hello to everyone for us?
Greetings, please? Everyone. Can you all hear me out there?
Oh, they better hear you. If not, we're all in trouble.
Nobody's
hearing us.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here.
Good. We want to talk a couple of minutes about things that are going on with some of the stranger, more interesting calls that may have come in on the lines in the last couple of days.
Oh, have I got one for you?
Well, tell me about it.
Okay, we want to open a can of worms?
Yeah, worms, as long as they're not poisonous.
No, these are not poisonous, but they are sad in a way. Actually, this happened back the day I was born, back in 1937. That's the day I was born. And on that day, practically, the whole world changed, and you could no longer get hemp. Hemp makes rope, it makes clothing, it makes paper. And what happened is the DuPont family got together with the Hearst Publishing Organization, and they outlawed it. So they put it in with marijuana, and so marijuana and hemp became illegal.
Now, when you say they outlawed it, they don't have the right to make laws. What did they do?
Oh, what they did was they went to the people who passed the laws, and they, shall we say, gave them enhancements to write a law that will outlaw it. And that's what they did.
Enhancements, that's a good word to use. I've never heard that. That's very creative.
Well, I'm trying to be creative because I don't want to sound like somebody who's an extremist.
No, and you don't want to be libelous, right?
Exactly. I don't want to be libelous.
Okay, that's good. So what happened was hemp, which was a very important element in the history of the United States, was outlawed and became synonymous with marijuana.
That's right.
And now hemp is an evil thing, and in reality it's a wonderful thing, and it's a wonderful medicative element. So tell us more.
Okay. Well, what happened is that finally the true light came to light and the law was changed. And so President Obama signed the bill that made it now legal. And so it is now legal. And I myself am going to be your example today. I have very serious arthritis, the crippling kind that the pain is horrible. So what I did is I sent away to a company and I got this liquid hemp. It's in a tincture. And then I took some ackee berry and a couple other little noni berry things to add to it because they're very high in photosynthesis or what's that word? It's for things that help to get over oxygenation in the body.
Well, I don't know the right word, but you just explained it. So
I did
fine.
indeed. I did indeed. So what has happened as a result? I'm here as your first miracle of the day, because after taking this for just over a week, I can now move my hands, and the arthritis pain has diminished by roughly 80%, and my movement in my hands has improved. And all of this is available. You can send away for this now, and for a little over $100, you can get yourself a 6-month supply.
Well, that's very interesting, Dr. J. I want to learn a little bit more about that. But I also want to know, since you've been taking this, have you been having any wild dreams?
Well, as a matter of fact, I've been sleeping better.
You've been sleeping better?
Yes.
But no wild dreams?
Well, see, what happens when you sleep well, you don't have the dreams.
Oh, my goodness. If I were deprived of my wild dreams, I'd have no wild life.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
what should I do?
Well,
You're
drink
speechless.
Hemp. Drink hemp.
Drink hemp?
Drink hemp.
Instead of vodka, right?
Instead of vodka.
All right, sounds good. Well, this is a very interesting thing. Anybody want to call in, by the way, and talk about hemp and tell us about your good experiences? Our phone number, remember, is 1-888-909-1050. That's 1-888-909-1050. So we welcome any calls, and if we get them, we will certainly respond and enjoy talking to you. So anything else about hemp?
Oh, absolutely. Here's a list of some of the things that this does. It helps with anxiety, arthritis, which I've mentioned, inflammation, also arthritis and other things, because you can have infections and you can have injuries that will cause inflammation, or allergies will cause inflammation. Then we have diabetes. It helps that. And along with that, blood sugar levels can be controlled with it. It's also good for hypertension, circulation, and sleep disorders. So if you've got pains in the knees, shoulders, joints, and muscle soreness or tenderness, it helps with that as well.
Well, that sounds really good. I think we ought to have a hemp party.
I think so, too. That'd be great.
Anybody interested in having a hemp party, call us. Remember, our number is 1-888-909-1050. We'd love to have a hemp party. I don't know what we do at a hemp party.
We can all get hemp together.
Get hemped up?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good to me. Where can we do it? Can we do it at the station or in the mall, or what do we do?
Well, I don't know. The mall's certainly big enough.
It's big enough. Well, if we had a full house, we'd be in trouble.
Yes, we would.
Okay, well, remember, anybody who wants to have a hemp party, call us, 1-888-909-1050.
You know, the beauty of all of this is that we have choices in this life. And a little more serious and more philosophical, but just as real can be, we have choices in life. We don't have to follow what somebody else said. We can find it out and figure it out for ourselves, and to use good common sense, because that's what life is all about. It's all about making choices that help you and help those people around you. People are always complaining about, what am I going to do with my life? What's my purpose in life? And it's so simple. We're back to the basics that Dr. Jolly has talked about ever since he came on the show. It's all about kindness. It's all about being fair and kind to people. That's what it's all about.
Amen, baby. I like that. All right, so now we know that hemp is legal to use in the United States. Can we make clothes out of it again and ropes out of it again?
Clothes out of it, ropes, and above all, paper. Let me tell you something about paper. What the DuPonts did and what Hearst did is they wanted to control the market for making paper out of pulp, wood pulp. Now, here's the ticker. You have to cut down over 4 acres of trees to get the same result you can get with 1 acre of hemp.
Wow.
And that's the truth.
Well, so now maybe we can become a little more conservative and deal with hemp paper. How long does it take to grow enough hemp to make paper to replace what we're doing?
1 year.
1 year?
Where it takes 15 years or 10 years to grow the trees.
Amen. All right. Sounds good to me. Any other things that have come through on our line?
Well, I was just looking here at my notes, and I was so caught up in the hemp thing that I
Yeah, don't get lost in hemp.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, it makes you feel so good.
Well, I don't know about that. I want to learn about that. Maybe how do we get hemp? How do we take hemp? Do we eat it?
No, the best thing to do is get it in a drop or tincture form. And then there's the adjunct you can take along with it, which is the oxygenation enhancement and that's they got the noni berries in it and the ackee berries in it, and the two working together make the process go much faster.
I love that reference to oxygenation because that's one of the big projects in my life, as you well know.
Yes.
Using hyperbaric oxygen at the medical center to help people with problems. Oxygen is absolutely the most important thing that our bodies require, not only to sustain life, however, also what it does is it enhances healing and it provokes healing, which is very exciting.
So we could use the two together. These would be enhancements to each other.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Yes, yes.
So what else? What else does hemp do?
Oh, hemp will, one of the things that we have a problem with our bodies is everyone wants to have, and everybody here talks about, homeostasis. Homeostasis is that point of balance that everybody talks about, but we all have trouble with because we're so stressed out and with the lives and such that we lead. One of the things that hemp does is it has a real positive effect on your status of homeostasis.
So it helps you keep balanced.
Exactly.
All the chemical functions and other functions that are necessary for our body to function must be in balance or we're sick.
That's right. That's one of the examples and one of the definitions for dis-ease is a lack of homeostasis. Being out of homeostasis.
That's good news.
Yeah.
Lack of homeostasis.
Yes.
All right, good. What other things have you got on the list of the phone? By the way, our number for any questions or discussion items or recommendations for what you want to talk about is area code 949-680-1915. That's area code 949-680-1915. You leave a message on that line. We'll get it the next day. We'll formulate something. We'll talk about it on the air. We'll call you on the phone to discuss it or whatever.
You know, one of the things people are always talking about is they're having trouble with their friends or getting along with their family or complaining about the wife, or the wife is complaining about the husband. And it's called right human relations. If you're in a state of distress, that is going to affect your family. It's going to affect everything around. It's going to affect your dog. And people don't understand that one of the reasons why we have dogs that do weird things is because they are responding to their owners. And children are the same way. Children respond to the parents and how they act. If they are stressed out, that is going to cause problems for children, and children will react in irrational manners and do things that you really don't want them to do. But they don't know any better because they have to be trained, just like our animals. So this whole idea of getting along with people is all based on homeostasis. But where does it start? It starts with you. You're the main factor. You have choices. You choose to be this way or choose not to be this way. But if you don't take control in your life, then your life is going to be like the leaf that goes down the creek and goes from side to side and is totally helpless to all of the things that are going on, the wind and the rain and the currents of the water, and you will be helpless.
Well, you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me to think about the definition of prayer in the Aramaic language. And that is the word umsalla. Umsalla means, in English, it is translated to mean to set a trap, which the metaphor is to listen, to tune in, to listen.
To be quiet.
Calm down in silence and quiet and just listen to your heart, listen to the Spirit. And that's what we need to do. We don't do that. We're in constant confusion. Nobody has any quiet time anymore. I had somebody bump into my car the other day while they were walking, and they were walking fast, and they almost put a dent in my car without even seeing it because this kid was texting. Now, that's not quiet, prayerful attitude.
Yes.
At all.
Well, how about all these people that are running into other people in their cars, causing damage and hurting people because they're texting?
Well, it happened to me the other day, but thank God nobody got hurt. Somebody
Yeah.
rammed me.
Yeah.
But they were texting, and there was no problem with my car because the end of my car has, in the old days they had metal cars and metal
bumpers.
No, and also, but they had metal edges. All the what looks like steel on the back of my car is some kind of rubberized plastic.
That's right.
And you can hit it, and it crunches and comes back.
That's right.
So that's what saved my car.
Well, if you look around the edge of those old bumpers and such, they'll have sharp edges on them.
Yeah.
That's you really cut yourself and really hurt yourself, and it's hardly any momentum at all. I mean, it's so easy to do.
Well, thank God we're making many headways, but we're going backwards in some of the things. I have a couple of things I wanted to look at on the list of things from the call-in line, and someone called in and said they wanted us to have a show on Sharia law. Sharia law is the Islamic law. I guess it's like our Ten Commandment type stuff, but I don't know anything about it. So if anybody's listening who has any contacts with an imam is like the minister or priest of the Islamic tradition, it would be nice to put him in touch with us, and maybe we can organize a show where we can talk about and learn what it is to look at Sharia law and figure out what that stuff means. I would be delighted to know myself more and to share with anybody else who wants to know what it is, at least so we'll know what we're dealing with. Any other items on the list?
That sounds great. While we're on that subject, let's continue that a little further and carry it into the philosophical side again, which is, of course, my area I love to babble in. And that is that there is a thread of truth. This thread of truth is absolute, and it runs through the center of all the great religions. And when you go to the core of each of the teachings of Hinduism, Mohammedanism, Christianity, Judaism, all of these religions and others actually that aren't as prominent in the world, but in the center of their belief and their faith will be this thread of truth. And that thread of truth is basically being kind to one another. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Everybody talks about it, but not everybody does anything about it. But the benefits are phenomenal. Later, just a few moments ago, we were talking about right human relations, getting along with our spouse, getting along with our kids, not being a bad example for our dog. And so here we are. We're back to the basics again. And they influence everything in our life.
Well, that brings me to look at Christianity a bit.
Okay.
It's the thing that I am the most familiar with. And I look at the teachings of Jesus in an interesting way. I remove them from religious context completely.
How do you do that?
Well, I look at the recommendations and I take away the religious implications. The recommendations are be honest, be just, be kind, don't condemn people, don't steal from people, don't hurt people, don't kill people. Don't you want to be treated well? Do you want to be murdered? Do you want to be robbed?
No.
Okay, do you think anybody does?
No.
Do you think a criminal wants to be robbed? Do you think an atheist wants to be killed?
No, he wants to rob other people, but he doesn't want anybody to rob him.
Okay, well, but the bottom line is the rules that Jesus Christ gave us are universal rules, devoid of religion. I don't care if you're an atheist. I don't care if you worship monkeys or rocks. If you follow those rules, you can make the world work.
Amen.
And we have never made the world work.
That's the problem.
It has never worked.
That's right.
It's not working now.
No,
it's probably in worse shape than it has ever been, because we have the capacity now to literally destroy the earth.
That's right.
And we're madmen.
And we'll destroy ourselves in the process.
Well, I bet you that's going to happen, and I hope it doesn't. And I certainly pray that it doesn't. But we have to educate people on following some kind of program. And Jesus gave us a great program. Yeah. You know, I mean, all of Christianity follows that program. The program in the Old Testament was not too bad. But there are some religions whose program is kind of a mess.
Yes.
And that's really unfortunate.
It is. So, but you know, one of the great philosophers said that if all of the people on the planet simply followed the basic teachings of their own religion, whatever it is, the world would be a beautiful place.
Probably so, but I have to learn more about some teachings of some religions because I don't understand them and I don't know enough to properly make judgments. But some of what I read makes it sound like some of them are promoting evil things.
Well, it's unfortunate. It's because of a distorted point of view. And I, again, bringing in the philosophy of it, but it's true. What happens is when you have this kind of dogma is that it's the whole principle of exclusivity. They have this exclusive thing. If you don't do it my way, you're going to die and go to hell, or you got to do it my way, or there is no other way. So that carried forward, they're using their belief in this God principle, or what they think is their God principle, as their sense of rightness. And therein lies the problem. They think they're doing God's work, but they aren't, because nowhere in the books does God come out and tell you to go around killing, hurting, and maiming your fellow humans and fellow creatures.
Well, I hear that there may be some religions where that's not true.
Wow.
And I would like to know. So anybody who wants to help educate me, call us, 1-888-909-1050, because I want to hear and I want to learn, and I'm eager and I'm open-minded.
Yeah, I'd like to know more about that myself.
I want to be honest and I want to be open-minded. Very good. All right. So it's going to be time for us to take a break in a minute. And I want to remind everybody that we are listening. You are listening. And I am talking from KCAA Radio, 1050 on your AM radio dial and 106.5 on your FM dial. We're now simulcasting. And we'll be back in about 2.5 to 3 minutes. Okay.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy has only lately begun to gain recognition for treatment of chronic degenerative health problems, including stroke, diabetic ulcers, wound healing, brain injury, and many other disorders. Whenever blood flow and oxygen delivery to vital organs is reduced, healing can potentially be aided with hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Are you a candidate for hyperbaric oxygen therapy? Contact Dr. Donald Jolly Gabriel, PhD, for a free consultation and see if this groundbreaking therapy can help you. Mention KCAA and get a free gift. Call toll-free 1-877-423-7986. That's 1-877-423-7986.
Or go to hyperbaric-solutions.com. That's www.hyperbaric-solutions.com.
Call toll-free right now, 1-877-423-7986. Hyperbaric Oxygen Therapy.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Behind on your payments or barely making minimums? Do your massive interest payments have you running like mad in circles? How long can you keep it up? Stop running. Let the Thomas & Law Group carefully plan your escape. The Thomas & Law Group has proven itself for over 18 solid years, helping thousands of people like you and me reclaim our financial future. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and offices in all 50 states. And the best part? There are no upfront fees at all. You won't pay a dime until the job's done. No upfront costs, no monthly fees, no banking fees. No other law firm does that. I'm a paid spokesperson, not a lawyer, and every case is different. But really, if you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, call the Thomas & Law Group right away for a free, no-obligation consult with a trained legal analyst at 800-460-9790. Call now because you're tired of running in circles. 800-460-9790. 800-460-9790.
Welcome back to What's It All About. We do have a caller on the line. Let's take that call so we don't have to keep them waiting. Greetings, salutations, and welcome. Hello.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great. What's your name?
My name is Tim, and I'm calling out of Ontario, California.
Hey,
And
Tim.
I just wanted to call in. I'm predominantly Catholic of faith when I follow faith, but I'm a unique Catholic follower, and I say that because growing up, I lost my parents young, drove me damn near insane, and it took me down a very, very dark road to where I disowned God. I disowned the whole belief system of a higher being. I started questioning not only my own faith, but every faith, and it led me to groups and clubs. And I don't mean clubs as in, very social clubs or very private social clubs. And it was more of Satanism. I started following the beliefs of the devil and so on and so forth. And because I had so much anger and everything. So this goes back, and the only reason why I bring this up is because I think a lot of it is a lot of your ideology when it comes to religion will come from your social surroundings, whether it be your peers or whatever what are you putting in your head when you watch TV? Those little things that you think doesn't get in your head actually really do play an influential role in your everyday living. And it goes back to what you were saying, how people can't deny, nobody does that anymore. Then again, look at our forefathers and generations back. They were raised on a very prominent religious-based lifestyle. Whether they admit it or they don't, and that is not present anymore. You don't see that anymore. You don't see families sitting at the table anymore, discussing each other's days, husbands and wives and their kids. One's in one room and God knows where the other one is. And, all the dad or the parents want to do is do their own thing, and you just don't see that anymore. So a lot of it is your social upbringing. But I've come back. I have given up my anger and misconception of what is right and what is wrong, and a lot of that has to do with reading. I was raised Catholic and left it because I wanted to learn the teachings of Buddhism and even a little bit of the Muslim religion. There's not all the Sharia, like you touch bases on Sharia law. Sharia law is a very stringent, very strict way of living. That their laws are not modern. Now, those laws and rules were implemented thousands of years ago. Which there's women's rights now. You can't do half the things that Sharia law speaks of in modern day society. But I just wanted to basically.
Well, I appreciate that very much. I don't know anything about Sharia law, to be very honest. I know nothing about it, but I hear people complaining about it all the time. So I think it's time for me to learn a little bit and talk to some people who might know about it.
Absolutely. I think people that complain the most about not just this particular issue, but in things in general, are the ones that fail to educate themselves, or they don't understand it, so they're afraid of what they don't know. And I think that's where a lot of their anger and frustration comes from.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, and it maybe even goes beyond fear. I think sometimes we love to criticize things so badly that we look at something we don't understand, and the first thing we do is begin to criticize it. And I don't.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at society today. You can't go anywhere without somebody bullying you or somebody bullying someone else. And we as a society, the majority of us don't even bother to interact or intervene and really stop what's going on. And we all know it's a negative that's a negative thing that's going on, but no one bothers to speak up because they're afraid. They're afraid of what may happen. What are the consequences of your action? You know, and whether it be good or bad. You know, and unfortunately, people are afraid. There's too many people, far too many people, that are afraid of doing the right thing, and that's just part of society nowadays, and it's unfortunate.
Well, it is. It's refreshing to hear your thoughts. I appreciate it. I'm gonna make an invitation to you, and you can respond to it or not based on what you want to do. But I would like to have the opportunity, if you're open to it, to talk a little bit more to you about some of these things, and maybe you could give me some ideas on how we could develop a show to talk about things and get some people involved in a conversation that may lead us somewhere in terms of developing something. I'd like to have a project and develop it to the point where we take a subject and we can give some views of this subject based on facts that would help people understand it, and then maybe provoke more conversation so we could get involved in some kind of a telephone conversational situation here and educate some people. So if you would like to be a part of anything like that, I'm going to give you the phone number that we use as our information line, and you can call and leave a message and your phone number and how we can get in touch with you. And that number, for anybody who wants it, is area code 949-680 1915. That's, again, I'll say it. It is area code 949-680-1915. And I really appreciate your phone call. You've been enlightening and motivational, and after all you've been through, it seems to me like you've centered yourself a bit and removed yourself from some of the trauma, and I hope that's true. I do.
It is very true. I don't lie to people, and I say that without a breaking bone in my body, because if I don't lie to myself, then I don't need to lie to anyone else, let alone, someone that I don't know.
Amen.
So for me, it's I don't mind expressing exactly my thoughts and everything. My situation was very unique. It drove me to be a sadist. I was really intrigued by sadist acts and sadism and all that area, and it's naturally not for the human race. You just know it. You just know it deep down. You know you're doing something wrong. And it took me to confinement. I was confined by the state of California, for a period of time for the acts that I've done, and I paid my debt to society. And during that time, I began to read, and what other better place on the planet can you be the most violent person is when you're confined. And, I'm married, I'm 37 years old, and I have, 3 wonderful boys, and I teach them, religion is your choice. I'm not going to stuff something down someone's throat that they don't want, but I do show them this is what I know. There is, a higher being. There is other things out there. If you wish to explore them, that is entirely up to you. But I tell them I'm very honest with my kids. I have an 18-year-old, and I'm very honest with him. And I always tell him, violence is not the answer, and I know that firsthand. And, whether he takes that for the better is entirely up to him. I just hope and pray for the best.
Well, I really appreciate your honesty and your openness and your sincerity, and I wish you well, and I hope someday that our paths will cross again. Feel free to call and share stuff with us, and I wish you a beautiful day, and thanks again.
Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
You too. Bye-bye. So I hope we're learning something as we share thoughts and ideas, and remember all the possibilities that exist in the world. And we live our life believing in possibilities. Religion and faith is just about possibility. It's not about knowledge. Knowledge is a confirmation of a possibility by the senses recognizing something and being unable to deny them. But we live on possibility. The relationships we establish through love are all done on possibility and faith. We got to remember that. Well, we're going to take another quick break, and then we'll go on and conclude the show. We have, after our break, about another 16 minutes. Take care. Be back in a few minutes.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Behind on your payments or barely making minimums? Do your massive interest payments have you running like mad in circles? How long can you keep it up? Stop running. Let the Thomas & Law Group carefully plan your escape. The Thomas & Law Group has proven itself for over 18 solid years, helping thousands of people like you and me reclaim our financial future. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and offices in all 50 states. And the best part? There are no upfront fees at all. You won't pay a dime until the job's done. No upfront costs, no monthly fees, no banking fees. No other law firm does that. I'm a paid spokesperson, not a lawyer, and every case is different. But really, if you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, call the Thomas & Law Group right away for a free, no-obligation consult with a trained legal analyst at 800-460-9790. Call now because you're tired of running in circles. 800-460-9790. 800-460-9790.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy has only lately begun to gain recognition for treatment of chronic degenerative health problems, including stroke, diabetic ulcers, wound healing, brain injury, and many other disorders. Whenever blood flow and oxygen delivery to vital organs is reduced, healing can potentially be aided with hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
Are you a candidate for hyperbaric oxygen therapy?
Contact Dr. Donald Jolly Gabriel, PhD, for a free consultation and see if this groundbreaking therapy can help you. Mention KCAA and get a free gift. Call toll-free 1-877-423-7986. That's 1-877-423-7986.
Or go to hyperbaric-solutions.com. That's www.hyperbaric-solutions.com.
Call toll-free right now, 1-877-423-7986. Hyperbaric Oxygen Therapy.
Greetings and welcome back to What's It All About? This is Dr. Donald Jolly Gabriel, and our call-in number is 1-888-909-1050. That's 1-888-909-1050 if anyone likes to call in. I got a call yesterday afternoon on our question line, which is 949-680-1915. You can call in and leave any questions on that line that you have. And this was something very interesting. We had talked briefly about this, I don't know how long ago, it wasn't too long ago, on one of the shows about smoking. And the nature of this question was very interesting. It was, what happens when I smoke? Well, it's almost like the question we had a week or two ago. What are the bad things about smoking? What happens when we smoke a cigarette is that we got to remember that our lungs are made to extract oxygen from the air. The air is composed of nitrogen and oxygen, mostly nitrogen, about 70-some percent, 79 maybe, percent nitrogen and 21% oxygen. There's a tiny bit of inert gases in there, but it's not enough to really be measured and matter at all. But the oxygen is extracted when we breathe, and it is dissolved into a portion of our blood called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin really is a compilation of the red blood cells, and hemoglobin is the only part of our blood that receives dissolved oxygen at regular atmospheric pressure. So when we breathe, we are oxygenating our hemoglobin, or 15% actually of our blood, with 21% of the oxygen that's in the air. And that's good. That keeps us alive and keeps us going. And more oxygen can be therapeutic. That's why when you're sick, they put you on oxygen if your oxygen levels get too low. When you smoke a cigarette, you are inhaling carbon monoxide, which is a deadly poison. And one of the reasons carbon monoxide is a deadly poison is because it infiltrates the cells and keeps oxygen from being able to dissolve in the cells. So it restricts oxygen from being useful to you. That's why with very little carbon monoxide, you can die. You just die. You can't live anymore. Well, if we do that to ourselves as we smoke, we are eliminating the possibility of the maximum or the appropriate amount of dissolved oxygen in our blood to do the job that oxygen is supposed to do. And it will then cause a slow deterioration or decline in our oxygen levels and also in our metabolic levels, and it will affect our entire body. Not only that, but the elements in the smoke are very irritative to the lungs, and as they're absorbed into the blood to other parts of the body. So when we do that to our body over and over and over again, we minimize the effectiveness of our immune system. We do a lot of other negative things that deplete our health and deplete our immune system and our ability to fight off disease, if you will. And we get sick, we get weak, we develop cancer, we develop all kinds of things because our body's immune system does not function properly. Now, anybody who chooses to do that to themselves, fine. That's fine. Do it. Do it. But understand that you will have to pay the price. You will have to pay the price. If it's something that gives you great pleasure and joy and orgasmic joy to puncture small ice pick holes in a tire, go ahead and do it. It's all right. It's your tire, nobody else's tire. But when the tire goes flat and you can't drive, hey, who's responsible for it? The tire or the ice pick? Of course not. You're responsible for it because you poked the holes in the tire. And we're responsible for what happens to our body most of the time because of what we put into it or what we don't put into it and what we do to it. You know, and so let's just wake up and take responsibility for what we do. And I don't condemn anybody for smoking cigarettes, but I think we should all be aware of what is happening to our body. And the oxygen deprivation factor is one of the biggest. I would recommend that everybody go out to CVS or Walgreens or Rite Aids or any other pharmacy close to you and buy a pulse oximeter. A pulse oximeter, probably you'll pay under $50 for it. And in 40 seconds or less, it will measure the oxygen component of your blood. And you don't have to prick your finger or anything. It's a very interesting electronic process that it uses to measure the content of oxygen in the hemoglobin by just putting a device over your finger for 30 to 40 seconds, and then it will give you a reading. And if that reading is 97, 98%, I think you're doing great. If it's 99, you're in an orgasmic state. If it's 100, it probably won't stay there more than 5 seconds or so because that's the best you can be, and you can't be the best you can be all the time because you're constantly calling on your supply of oxygen to be utilized. Therefore, when it becomes 100%, it goes down a little bit when it starts to perform a function. But 98 is great. I would chart my oxygen level for about a week in the morning when I wake up, in the mid-morning, at noon, in the mid-afternoon, in the late afternoon, at night, and then when you go to bed. I'd do it for a week, and I'd see what my levels are. If anybody has any questions, they can call the show and ask about them. To the extent of our knowledge, we will share with you. And then you can take more control on your oxygen levels, which will mean you have more control on your brain function and the condition of your body. You can be shown how to raise your oxygen levels simply by breathing, by the way. I know that some people drag an oxygen tank around with them if they have an oxygen deprivation problem. and they sit and when they watch TV or they play cards or whatever they do at home, except when they're in the kitchen with gas and fire and cooking and all that, they breathe oxygen because they need it. But you can be taught how to elevate your oxygen level simply by breathing. And some of us who smoke, I don't smoke, I've never smoked except once in my life. I smoked a cigarette when I was 11 years old, and I got sick and threw up for 2 hours, and I never put another cigarette in my mouth again. Thank God. That was a gift from divinity for me. I'm very, very anxious to be grateful and to acknowledge that. So I am supporting this recommendation that we not smoke, but I want you to understand why not to smoke. And I want you to understand that your oxygen levels are very, very important. Nowadays, we don't check our oil a lot, but when I was growing up and had a car, I was always worried about my oil. I checked my oil every couple of days, and I guess now we have cars that don't burn as much oil or oil that doesn't burn as much or whatever, and it doesn't disappear and dissipate. And maybe we have less leaks, I don't know. So we don't seem to check it very often. We send it off to get serviced, and that's about it. But I check my oxygen level as much as I used to check my oil level. And I would recommend that everybody do that because I think it's very, very important. Another thing we had was a statement. It's very confusing what you say about sugar. And then there was another footnote to this statement. I heard you say one time that sugar is an evil demon from the deepest, darkest pit of hell. Do you really mean that? And I will say I do. I really mean that. Because sugar is insidious, and it comes in many forms. It is very addictive. We are all addicted to sugar at different levels, but we're all addicted to sugar. And sugar causes massive problems with our body. And eventually it will cause insulin sensitivity. And when we become insensitive to the effect of insulin, what happens is we can start to develop diabetes, and that's not a good thing. So I think that we should minimize our utilization of sugar, and we should also know that carbohydrates produce glucose in the blood very quickly. And what is glucose? Sugar. And that brings up another situation. Cancer cells love sugar. They love it. They replicate more vehemently, more strongly, and more enthusiastically when they have a lot of sugar in order to feed them. So those of you who are plagued by cancer one way or another should stay off of sugar completely. So I hope those comments that I made answer the questions that were on our phone line. And then again, our phone line is area code 949. That's the message line for you to ask questions and leave them on. 949-680-1915. That's the message line. Another thing we had down as a possible question was this. I have a problem with energy. What can I do to get more energy? Well, I think dietary procedures are very important. And I think that sugar can have an effect of depleting our energy levels after it gives us a sugar high and maybe a jump. So I think it's very important to remember to have a balanced diet with a proper amount of caffeine in your life, maybe a cup of coffee in the morning, but certainly not 5 or 6 cups of coffee. I'd stay away from sugar if I were you. I'd look at the values of protein and carbohydrates and the mixture of things that I can eat that won't overdo one of those things. But we need protein and we need fresh vegetables. And those of you who have any special questions can call in the line 949-680-1915. And we would be very, very happy to get you some information on these particular items. So we're going to have about another 5 minutes to go, and I want to share with you some possibilities. I would like very much to see if we could collect a set of questions that we could develop a booklet on and get some professional answers that might be helpful to people who want to know how to make their life better. And my recommendation is that we look at the spiritual side of our life, the psychological and emotional side of our life, the physiological side of our life, what to do to make our bodies better, nutritionally speaking, and other ways, and maybe just put together a little booklet, get some answers. I can interview some physicians. I can interview a couple of nutritionists. I can interview people from Loma Linda Medical Center, University Medical Center, who are basically vegetarian in their belief system, and see what they think about being vegetarian, how you can make up for not having the proteins that might be in meat substances like beef and chicken and fish and those kinds of things, and come up with some recommendations that are possibilities. Not that we need to follow them, but possibilities. We live in a world of possibility. And I want to remind each and every one of you that you are responsible for that world of possibility. We are responsible for taking care of everything we have, including our precious relationships. And that brings up the last question I have. The last question I have is, how can I, and a male wrote this, how can I make my marriage better? How can I make my marriage better? And how I can make my marriage better is, number one, sit down with your spouse and talk about the agreements that you need to have to make things work in your marriage. What are your expectations? What are her expectations? What are your negotiated middle of the road? What are your negotiated middle of the road? What will you accept? What will work for you? What won't work for you? And come to some terms of being able to compromise and keep agreements. If you don't keep your agreement, you have a lease agreement with somebody, you get thrown out on your butt. If you have an employment agreement with somebody and you break that employment agreement, you get thrown out on your butt. And in a marriage, if we don't have any agreements to keep, then we can be upset about almost anything at any time, day or night. But if we have a set of things we've agreed on and worked on together and work on trying to make a part of our relationship, respecting and loving each other enough to honor those things that we have agreed to do, we can create a very meaningful relationship. So I want to recommend to everybody who thinks they're in love to, number one, determine whether they're really in heat or in love, because there's a big difference. Because if you're in love, you need to realize you have to build the building blocks of love to create love. If you're in heat, the fire will go out. I promise you, one day the fire will go out. So, my advice, make some agreements when you think you're in love with somebody or when you think you want to build a relationship. Know the difference between the heat of the moment and a commitment that you want to make to have a relationship with somebody. And there is no commitment to relationship without getting to know enough about each other to be able to make agreements on how you want to be treated. And that's about the last point that I have to cover on the show today. Just to remind you all that you are creatures of however you got here is however you believe you got here. I believe that we were ultimately created by a divine creative source that we call God, and that we are responsible for what we are. We are an incredible life force. We are made up of billions and trillions of cells. We are a mechanism that functions beautifully, and more beautifully if we take care of it, and we nurture it, and we're responsible for it, and we don't screw it up. So I'm hoping that we will take more responsibility for our body, for our lives, for our relationships, for our relationship to God, our quest for God, our willingness to go into prayer and shut up and be quiet and ask for the Spirit to enliven us and help us and inspire us and kick us in the butt, if you will, so that we can do something worthwhile. So with these thoughts, I will leave you, and I send you all of my good wishes, and I invoke God's blessings upon you and remind you to stay off your butt and make life work. We'll see you next week.
Give yourself the investment of a lifetime. Enjoy this holiday season in a luxury estate home at Charleston Estates, the only new home neighborhood in prestigious South Redlands and smartly priced from the mid-800,000s. Charleston Estates.